You've been on your healing journey for quite some time, and you think that the more you heal, the better it will feel, but still sometimes you have these waves of anxiety, these waves of grief, and you think that you did something wrong, that experiencing negative emotions, experiencing pain, grief, suffering during your healing means that it's wrong, it's bad, you did something wrong. You didn't heal, because healing must imply joy, happiness, freedom, relief. And yes, despite the fact that the end goal of healing is experiencing joy and positive emotions, still, healing itself shouldn't necessarily feel incredibly joyful or incredibly happy. And so, if you experience something negative, it's a good sign, actually. And so, if you have 10 more minutes, today we will discuss why healing doesn't feel good all the time, and why it shouldn't even feel good all the time, and what to do if you currently are facing this negative period in your healing journey, and how to safely pass through that in order to feel joy again. Hello, my name is Sophie from Co-Awakened, and here we discuss how to recover after abuse and reconnect with our emotions in order to feel life again. If we talk about healing, we should mention what kind of healing. Of course, we suggest it's some kind of a psychological healing when you try to heal your traumas, and you can try to heal them through different techniques, means and tools. And so it implies to make something unconscious conscious. It means that during the healing process, you make your old unconscious pain, your old unconscious wound, conscious. And so it already implies dealing with pain. No matter whether you are just going to talking therapy and you manage to talk through certain old pain of yours, or you do your shadow work and you recognize this old pattern of yours that is going around like crazy for many years of your life, or during the meditation you have this experience of breaking through some old traumas. It doesn't matter really. Main thing is that you try to recover the old wound of yours and heal that for now and transform it from subconscious negative emotions to conscious positive emotion. You try to change the old dysfunctional, painful pattern into something functional, into something that can bring more functionality into your life rather than dysfunctionality. So you see, we're already dealing with something so-called negative, and I can't even say negative because it's just an information, but I digress. As you can see at the core, we are already dealing with something not joyous. And in order to transform something not joyous into joyous, you have to touch this not joyous thing. If you watched some of my videos, you already know this theory about cognitive dissonance. During the painful event in our childhood, we faced this cognitive dissonance. We faced the situation where our inner reality and our outer reality didn't match. And they didn't match to such a degree where it became really painful for you to just exist and function. And so your mind, in order to save you, it split itself. It hid the personal pain deep inside your subconscious mind, and it created some kind of a coping belief system and a coping mechanism so that you could function in society. So for example, just imagine your father left you when you were a child, and so for you it was such a trauma. Like, your personal truth was that the family should be a union of mother and father, that you should have mother, you should have father. And so when the father left, for you it was such a painful experience that you just couldn't function. And your mind, in order for you to continue to function, because it wants to be alive, it split, it hid the pain about your father leaving you, and it created some kind of a coping mechanism that I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not good enough as a woman, maybe I'm not good enough just as a person in general. This logical explanation, this patch onto your old wound, made it so you could function in society. But at the same time, it didn't heal anything. It didn't resolve the situation in a proper way because the pain is still there. It's just subconscious. Again, notice how I formulated the phrase. You hid your personal pain, your personal truth. So your personal truth was that the father is supposed to be there, that you love your father and he's supposed to be there, but he's not longer there. Not only did you hid the pain of this event, but you also hid an extremely crucial piece of your personality. It actually hid one of your core needs. So one of your core needs was to be loved by a father, by a male figure. You have this need, and when you rejected the pain, when you hid the pain, you also hid one of your core needs, which is incredibly painful to realize, by the way, because your core needs, they are the ones who make you feel alive. They are the ones that bring meaning to your life. I guess you already know where I'm going with this, right? When you hid your personal pain and your personal truth, it didn't go anywhere, right? It still exists, and it still wants to be healed. And once you have a chance to heal that, thanks to different processes, you retrieve this subconscious information about yourself. From the one hand, it feels very relieving because yes, you finally are able to retrieve an old trauma of yours. You're finally able to understand that, to consciously process that. But at the same time, you are dealing with pain. You are retrieving pain of your personal truth, of not being able to meet your need. And so it implies not only dealing with pain itself, but dealing with the fact that you had a need that you couldn't meet then, and that your current reality is formed in a way where you are not able to meet that need even now. Consciously facing with the pain of not being able to meet one of your core needs is one of the most excruciatingly painful experience you can ever have, really. Because your whole personality till this moment was built on the fact that you are in denial, in rejection to this pain, that I built my life opposing to having this pain. But now you're coming back to ground zero and saying that, well, actually, I still have this pain. Despite all of the years spent trying to cope and trying to figure things out, I haven't figured anything out because the pain is still there, the need is still not met. What should I do about that? So, of course, it will be an excruciatingly painful experience. It's not like roses and sunshines, really. You will have to accept your personal reality of the fact that you are in agony, you are in pain. The life that you built towards this moment, till this moment, wasn't actually authentic, wasn't meeting the need that you had in the proper way. Maybe till this point, of course, you had good relationships. Maybe you had terrible relationships, who knows? But still, they were coming from a place of coping in order to meet this need. And you most likely met this need not in a very healthy way, let's be honest. Like you might ended up with a narcissist, for example, because you were longing for this male's attention, for this father-like figure attention. And you were craving it so hard and so strong that you ignored all of the red flags. You made this partner of yours a god. You worshipped him as a god so that he didn't leave you how your father left you. But now, for example, relationships fell apart. And not only it's painful in itself, but maybe you have managed to make peace with that. Now you have to uncover another layer of the truth that despite the fact that you managed to break up with a narcissist, for example, this root cause, this root pain, this root unmet need of having a supporting male figure is still not there. And relationships that you had prior to this moment didn't really meet this need, despite the fact that you did everything so that this need would be met. Like, I don't want to sound very brutal and very depressing and very overwhelming to you, but one of the most important things in healing is to be able to take truth as it is, no matter how painful this truth is. And so this is one of those moments where it's very hard to accept that. It sounds overwhelming, but once you do accept that, again, you feel an immense amount of relief alongside with an immense amount of pain. And so from this place of realizing that despite the fact that you uncovered something, you healed something, maybe you even created some kind of resolution in your mind of this painful situation, like a completion process does, still there will be the following period of grief. The grief of the fact that till this moment you coped, the grief of the fact that you had this need all along and you weren't able to meet that, and you are even currently are not able to meet that because maybe you are healing after just split up with a narcissist, and so for you going straightforwardly in another relationships is not an option. Accepting that, realizing that will bring you to this place of grief, of pain, deep level of loneliness, and feeling this need fully and consciously. And it won't be a nice experience because actually this need was hidden all along and now it's free and now it's able to express itself fully in your body, and it won't be nice. If I will give you a visual, just imagine that, for example, a kid who was somehow locked in a prison is now free. You managed to let him out of the prison, and of course there will be this moment of happiness, but still there will be this moment of grief, of hysteria, of complete meltdown over the fact that, yeah, I'm free, but all of this time I've been craving for this freedom. And I was lacking this freedom. And I realized how much I missed this freedom. Because while I was in a prison cell, I was coping. And now I'm actually free. And there is such a rich and dense mix of different emotions that I just need to let out. And so what can we do to actually ease this grieving process? The easiest answer that I can give you is to actually be present. It sounds easy on paper, but it is very hard. It's very hard to practice presence when you are in agony. You're burning alive from the intensity of this grief and pain. But it is the most necessary thing, the most healing thing that you can provide right now, because no conscious affirmation, no mental thinking, no trying to overthink the pain will help. Because healing is not a mental process in the first place. You can arrive to the necessity of healing mentally, but you can't actually heal mentally. And I did a whole video about that. You can watch that. You have to provide yourself with something that your parents didn't do when you were a kid. Just remember when you were a kid and you were sick. All you wanted to do is to have some kind of a presence so that mom actually sat with you, pat you on the shoulder, pat you on the head, hugged you, kissed you, and said, everything will be alright. I love you. I don't care if you are sick. You needed this warmth, this hug, this presence. That's why the best thing that we can do now is to actually provide the same for ourselves. And it's hard, of course, because you are trying to provide yourself with something that you didn't have in the first place, and you are not kind of in resource of doing because you are in pain. If you can afford yourself to go to therapy during this moment, this can be incredibly helpful, obviously. If you can have a friend who can compassionately be present with you, take this chance, obviously. But if you don't, well, your best option is to just breathe and sit there and be present with this pain as long as necessary. Not thinking of where will you end, just stop it. No, just be present out your free will with an intention to understand this pain better, rather than to make this pain to stop. And I also did this video with the exercise, how to sit with your negative emotions. You can use that as your baseline as well. But the main thing is just to stay present till the moment where the pain starts to ease, when the pain told you all the things that it wanted to say. When the pain starts to lose its intensity and you feel like you are going into this place of acceptance. That's where actually the real magic starts, because you are now at the precipice of transforming this energy into something that has trajectory and potential to actually change your life. The main thing is to live through this transitional period, to recognize that, yeah, the fact that I've healed the trauma and now I'm in agony is a normal transition, is a normal process, because healing is a multi-layered process. And it's not just positive process, despite the fact that a lot of people are just expected to be that way. You don't expect a person who was in a car crash to walk out of ER office pain-free immediately. No, you recognize that there are a lot of fractures going on in his body, that maybe he has lost his ability to walk, and now he has to do this huge recovery process. We recognize that regarding the physical wounds, but we don't recognize the same regarding the emotional wounds. But from the emotional point of perspective, it's the same thing. If you recognize that you have this huge trauma around abandonment, be that from your father or any other figure, well, it's like breaking your spine, actually. And you will have to spend some time being in pain first, and then healing and recovering from that. If you can't make it in one retreat, if you can't make it in one day, one therapy session, don't really blame yourself. You've been in a car crash, but you just ignore the pain for all of those years. Just recognize how much agony, how much pain did you actually hold for all of those years. Yeah, it's okay, it's fine. Just be this gentle and supporting parenting figure to yourself in order to be able to pass through this period as compassionately and as gentle as possible. So I hope that this video made you, a little bit overwhelmed, obviously, but also a little bit more hopeful, and you feel this relief from recognizing that, healing is bumpy. Healing is not sexy. Healing is not like, oh, I recognize this pattern, now I will behave differently. You can't think your way out of traumas. You can't think your way into healing. You can't think your way out of healing. You can only feel through that. You can only work with your body in order to release that. But it's not just I thought and I feel better kind of mentality. And so if you want to discuss more things regarding healing, safety, emotional safety, and recovering after abuse, I will be waiting for you every Thursday and Sunday on this channel to discuss even more topics like that. And for now, just recognize that you are fragile, yes, but you are the most precious and the most gentle thing possible. And treating yourself like something that deserves compassion, admiration, healing and support will carry you through those periods. Maybe it sounds a lot like I'm asking you to become the parent that you never had, but still, once you will be able to do that, you will see that pain is not the enemy. The biggest thing that we are terrified of is to actually be left alone with this pain. But if you will meet yourself compassionately in this pain, it won't be as scary as you think it is.